Welcome guys to this new video about CSS grids. It's another tutorial and I want to continue from where we left off in the very last video. If you check my channel, you realize that the very last video talked about CSS grid areas. Now grid areas are very interesting because they allow you to use grid area names to define your website structure in your grid class. So on the grid container, we have the display grid here, and then we have the template columns and template rows. But then you realize that here for the grid template areas property, we are using names corresponding to the elements that we actually have here, and we're doing this through the grid area property, and we use this to assign names to our various elements here in the HTML section. So if you're confused about this, I recommend that you check my other video, my previous one, which is I think the 4th tutorial in this series, and just catch up and come back to this video. So here today what I want to actually touch base on is empty cells. So empty cells are going to be useful when you're creating very complex layouts. Sometimes you don't really want an element to stretch or to occupy a full row by itself. Maybe you want 3 cells, for instance, to be occupied and one last cell to be empty. It depends on your purpose, but you're going to need it at some point. It's not very likely that you're going to want to eliminate one item altogether, for instance, like removing this banner section altogether. I mean, if you don't need something in your layout, it's probably best that you comment it out in your code or that you remove it completely. But then if you want, for instance, to make this banner section, the pink rectangle here, to end, for instance, where the main content is ending, then it probably makes sense to know how to solve that issue without adding more lines of code. And that's what I want to talk about in this video. So this layout that you see here is very similar to what we created in the previous video, but I just added this banner section and I gave it a different color just to use it for this example. Just so you know, this is done through the section item here. It has a class item for the padding and the text alignments, but then I'm overwriting the background color here with this pink color, and then I'm adding a font color that is white, and I'm giving the name of banner to that element. So here in the grid templates areas section, I'm also using banner here, meaning I want the banner to stretch and occupy all 3 cells in the 3rd row of our grid. That's what we see here. And also I've updated the grid template rows to add 40 pixels because I want the banner and the menu section to have the same heights here. Okay, so now let's reduce the width of the banner, and let's say, for instance, we want it to stretch from here, the first line, to the 3rd line. This is not the 2nd line, this is the 3rd line, because we have a 3-column grid, as you can see here, one FR 3 times. So we actually have 3 equally sized columns, and so this is the 1st line, the 2nd line is in the middle here, but you can't see it, and then this is actually the 3rd line, and here is the 4th one. So let's do that right here. The notation, the syntax I mean, is actually very simple. All you need to do is go to your the relevance row. In this case, we want to manipulate the banner, so I go here, banner. I just remove this 3rd banner, this 3rd word here, and then I just replace it with a dot symbol. So this dot notation indicates that we want an empty cell right here, because it's all a matter of cells. Here at the top we have 3 cells, same thing for the menu, 3 cells, and here as well. So we just want a banner to occupy 2 cells and leave this 3rd one empty. So let's say, for instance, we wanted it to start in the middle of the content section and end on the right here. We could simply write banner here, remove this first one, and add the dot notation, and then we see it empty here, but it fills up these two cells here. So it's probably not a design that you want to implement as such, but maybe for instance you want to set it in the middle. One way you can do that is to have a 4-column grid. So you just add like one FR, or yeah, one FR like that, and then here you just need to make sure that you have values for 4 grid cells. So you update this here. The header should occupy 4 cells. Same thing for the menu. This banner, we want it to leave the first cell and the last cell empty and just occupy the second and the third one so that it looks like it's in the middle. Here probably we want the main to take 3/4 of each row. So the sidebar will only take 1/4 of each row, and the footer here can take up each full space. And then we have this here, an empty cell here, an empty cell there, and the banner sits in the middle. So it's very important for you to know how to use this very simple dot notation to manipulate your layouts very quickly. So that's about it for this video. It was just something quick that I thought I missed in the previous video. I hope you find this very useful, and if it was useful to you, please subscribe, thumbs up this video, and share your comments. I'll catch you next time, probably with something new about CSS. I'm thinking of talking about the repeat function to enhance our code. Until then, have a great day, a great week, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.